Hey guys, we're going to be talking about grammar today. So we're going to be starting our kind of parts of speech, and today we're going to be focused on nouns and pronouns. So there's 8 parts of speech. Like I said, we're dealing with nouns and pronouns today. They kind of do the same thing, and we'll talk about that in a second. So a noun, which is always going to be designated by a lowercase n, unless it's a proper noun, in which case it'll be an uppercase n, is a person, thing, place, or abstract idea. Basically, if you can put a, an, or the in front of it, it's a noun, right? A dog, the cat, okay, an apple. But you could also talk about an idea, right? An idea isn't a thing that you can touch like a dog, a cat, or an apple, but it is a thought, right? So love would also be an example of that kind of like abstract idea thing, okay? So common nouns, lowercase n, names just kind of a general noun, like any cat, okay? Or any city. Proper nouns name a specific noun, like Miss McLean or Charlotte, as opposed to a city, or Eve, as opposed to just any dog, okay? Nouns can be possessive, right? So that shows ownership, and we use an apostrophe S to designate that. And they can be possessive common nouns, in which case it'd be POS lowercase n, or it can be possessive proper noun, POS capital N, right? So girls, the girls' ball, right? As opposed to Roger's ball, right? It could be any girl, but this time it's Roger. Okay. So again, common versus proper here. So let's identify and label the nouns in the following sentence. Ask the media specialist to help you find a book about Ibram X. Kendi, right? So we know the name is going to be one of those, right? So we would, I'll go ahead and click out of this so I can mark it. So I'm going to underline this noun, right? And then because we see these capital letters and it's naming a specific man, this is an author, Ibram X. Kendi, maybe you've heard about him a little bit. He's been very much in the news recently. We would use a capital N right after his name. So what are the other nouns in here, right? So again, think about where our articles are, a, and the, right? So we have the media specialist, right? So specialist is our noun here. Media is telling me what kind of a specialist they are. So media here is actually an adjective, which we'll get to a little bit later. So we use lowercase n there. Okay, and then book, right? A book, it's a thing you can touch, would be our other noun. And again, since it's not talking about a specific book, it's not talking about Oedipus Rex, it's not talking about Tom Sawyer, it's not talking about To Kill a Mockingbird, it's just talking about a book by this guy who wrote How to Be an Anti-Racist. It would be lowercase n again, right? So this is how we would mark our nouns. So then let's look at pronouns. So pronouns take the place of a noun. And if you want to watch, this is a fun Schoolhouse Rock video about pronouns. If you want to watch that, I'm not going to give you a video within a video. You have access to this, this PowerPoint, so you can take a look at it on your own time if you want to. So pronouns take the place of a noun. So there's personal pronouns. Okay, and they are either first, second, or third person. And this is a lot like first, second, or third person narration, right? A first person narrator says I. So first person pronouns have to do with me, right? I, me, us, okay? Those kinds, mine, those kinds of things. Then there's second person pronouns, and those have to do with you or somebody else, right? So you or your, okay? And then third person pronouns are pronouns that have to deal with everyone else, like he, she, it, they. All of those are third person pronouns, right? So reflexive reflect back to the self. Myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. If it doesn't say self on the end of it, then it's not one of those words. It's not reflexive. So that one's pretty easy. Word things that are not reflexive pronouns because they are not words. His self, it's not a word, right? Himself, okay? So those would be reflexive, and we call those ref pro, right? So these would be 1 pro, 2 pro, 3 pro, ref pro. Interrogative asks the questions, right? So which, whose, what, whom, and who, all of those are interrogative pronouns. So you'd write int pro beside those. Demonstrative are ones that talk about a specific one, like this remote, right? It is a specific remote. So that would be a demonstrative or demonstrative pronoun. Indefinite isn't referring to a specific one. It might say all remotes. It's not talking about this remote. It's talking about all the remotes that have ever existed. So that would be indefinite. Okay. So those are pronouns. So we're going to take a quick look at your assignment sheet. So this is the practice that we're going to be doing. I've broken it down into noun practice, pronoun practice, and then practice with all of them. So up here, you've got your key for what you're looking for. So on the first 5 questions, I gave you the nouns. Your job is to identify what kind of nouns those are, right? So in this example, Camaria's family gave me a tour of their house yesterday. Camaria is a name, and it's a specific name, so that makes it a proper noun. So that's a capital N. And we have that apostrophe S, so that tells us that it is a possessive or a possessive proper noun. So we write POS capital N. Gave me a tour of their house, right? So you'll notice the little blanks have a 1 or a 2 or a 3 beside them, and then the words have a 1, 2, or 3 beside them, so that you know which answer goes in which blank. And then house, right, is not talking about a specific house. It's not talking about a named house, right? We're not talking about the Biltmore house, just a house. So that would be lowercase n because it's a common noun. So you'll do that for 1 through 5. In these questions, you have to find all the nouns and identify them. So you'll just underline them, and then you'll write if they are a proper noun, capital N, a lowercase noun, or a common noun, lowercase n, or a possessive proper or common noun, okay? And you'll do the kind of same thing right here. Pronoun practice functions a lot the same way. So you've got first, second, or third person personal pronouns, 1 pro, 2 pro, or 3 pro for first, second, or third. Reflexive pronouns, ref pro. Interrogative pronouns, int pro. Demonstrative pronouns, dem pro. Or indefinite pronouns, end pro. So we'll look at again, like at this example, and it functions as the same as these up here, except you're looking for pronouns, not nouns. Pronouns replace nouns, right? Instead of talking about the cat, I might say it. Instead of talking about George, I might say he. Miss Fry keeps popping her head in here thinking that she can talk to me while I'm making this video. So you'll notice in this example, I see myself eating your big chocolate cookie, right? So these are my 3 pronouns, I, myself, and your. So I is talking about me, so that would make it a first person personal pronoun. So I write 1 pro. Myself is that reflexive pronoun that we talked about. Those are the ones that have self on the end. So I'd write ref pro on the second line. And then your is talking about somebody else's cookie, right? Talking about your cookie. So that would be a second person personal pronoun. So you'll see the pronouns are underlined here. All you have to do is identify what kind they are based up here. Again, here you're looking for all of the examples. You're underlining them and writing beside them what type of pronoun they are. So you're identifying them by underlining while also naming them. And then lastly, you're putting it all together. So you're going to underline pronouns and you're going to bold nouns. Oh, and I did this wrong. So this should be bold and not underlined. I could have sworn I changed that. Right, so I and this are both pronouns, right? I is a first person pronoun. This is talking about a specific letter, this letter, right? Assume this is a letter, this letter. So that's a demonstrative pronoun. And then letter itself is a noun, but it's not a named noun. It's a common noun, so it's a lowercase n. Ron is a proper noun, so he is a capital N, but it's also possessive because we have that apostrophe S right there, so he's a possessive noun. And then heart, right? Is a common noun, so you get the lowercase n. So for these, you'll be writing that same thing. You'll be underlining the pronouns, bolding the nouns, okay? And then writing what kind they are beside it in pronouns. You'll identify the type using your parentheses, okay? If you have any questions, please ask me. I'll be glad to help you. You can wait for your in-class day, or you can email me or hop on the Google Meet on Wednesday if it's around that time, and I'll be glad to help you. Hope this is useful, and I promise grammar's not as great as it seems. We're just going to keep slogging through it, and it'll click. I swear, I swear. All right, bye, guys.